Hello, and welcome to The Wave from Ocean Reef, a podcast about the flow of life today and how you and I might ride with or swim against it. I'm Dan Meyer, Chaplain-in-Residence at the beautiful Ocean Reef community in Key Largo, Florida. For many years, I led one of the largest churches in America, hosted an Emmy Award-winning television news magazine, and moderated a forum for business and professional leaders. Along the way, I had the chance to work on a farm, in a maximum security prison, on an offshore oil rig, and in the world corporate headquarters of IBM. These experiences, plus a political science education at Yale and degrees in theology from Princeton and Fuller seminaries, have made me fascinated with people and with the various predicaments and possibilities that shape the flow of human life. I hope you'll find this podcast sparks your own thinking about that. So here's the wave for today. I want to welcome you back to part 2 of a 2-part conversation I've called Convicted Civility. In part 1 of the conversation, I made a bold assertion that what we need today is convicted civility. I contended that you and I live in an era where there is too little conviction, or maybe alternatively too much passivity, from many of our best people. At the same time, those actively engaged in the important struggles of our age often seem to exhibit too little civility or too much aggression in the pursuit of their ends. The result of both of these realities is a rising anarchy in many societal sectors. In part 1, I describe some of the basic moral convictions that have struck people in the Judeo-Christian tradition as absolutely essential to forming healthy individuals and societies. I think that more people need to stand up and speak out for those values if we're to avoid further descent into anarchy. If you've followed the news cycle since this last conversation, then you will be freshly aware that it can be risky to be somebody who stands up and speaks out today. The problem has something to do with declining standards around civility, and that's what I want to focus on today. You've likely learned a lot about the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the young conservative who was rarely shy about expressing his convictions, and who called everyone in his audience to carefully consider theirs. Regardless of whether you identify with the moral values for which Charlie stood, he was someone who did his best to engage others in conversation about the beliefs and practices that they believed would lead to a true commonwealth. At the same time, Charlie was sometimes given to what I'll call expressional excess. I agreed with many things he said, but he did sometimes make ill-considered statements that made me wince. Most of the time, Charlie was a champion for what I am calling civility, a respectful way of holding space for those who disagree with you. And there were moments when he lost that bearing. A lot of us are like that, aren't we? We're a complicated mix of wisdom and foolishness. We bring value to the circles that we enter, and then we do or say things that would make Moses or Jesus or Mr. Rogers wince. That, however, is nowhere close to justification for murder. If you survey a balanced news feed, then you know that over the past month and months, a lot of people who were simply trying to live out their moral convictions were murdered by fanatics who felt they had no right to their beliefs. The people murdered were Jewish and Christian, Republicans and Democrats, young people and older people, and that's just the start of the list. They were killed by those who felt that differing with them was hate speech and must be punished by death. Some of this is the clear result of mental illness, of course, conditions that deserve a set of thoughtful and careful responses all their own. But some of the trauma of our time is the result of a distorted, disfigured notion of what health and safety truly mean. My parents taught me to differentiate between words and actions. Sticks and stones may break your bones, but names will never hurt you, my mom said. People will dislike and disagree with you. But that's okay. That won't kill you. In fact, it will make you more resilient, more thoughtful. I was trained as a political scientist at Yale back when that university was not dominated by any particular ideology. My professors taught me to look at all sides of an issue. They said that entertaining the marketplace of ideas and values will only make you wiser and more discerning. It won't kill you to say what you believe and to listen to others as they have their say. Today, however, it just might kill you. Once upon a time, there was no talk radio. There was nothing like ideological television or social media. There was only face-to-face relationship among people whose proximity to one another created a mutual interdependence. People understood that they had to learn how to live with other people in real time and deal with differences. In his marvelous book, Uncommon Decency, Richard Mouw issues a winsome call to recovery of civility in American life. Civility, Mouw writes, is public politeness. It means that we display tact, moderation, refinement, and good manners toward people who are different from us. Mouw stresses that civility is not just play acting. You don't simply mask your basic hostility towards somebody else with insincere words or grudging concessions. Civility doesn't mean holding a relativistic view that every idea or approach offered is equally valid. Some ideas and actions are genuinely stupid or destructive, including perhaps some of our own. Civility requires an authentic willingness to respect someone else, not because we believe that they're right about everything, but because they are creatures made in the image of God. It involves trying to understand what they think and feel and where that came from in their story. It means seeking to perceive the pressures they are under and the experiences they've had, the real world needs or the imagined demons that haunt them. It means listening deeply enough that we earn the right to have our convictions truly heard by them. Hundreds of years ago, a diverse group of people came together and hammered out a new charter. There were many differences that could have divided them and destroyed their project, but they focused instead on what they had in common. They had a holy conviction that all people were created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. They enshrined in a constitution and then a Bill of Rights the vision of an unusually civil society, one with due process, mutual respect, checks and balances, and a core Judeo-Christian value system designed by a Creator in order to advance a common good. Let's refresh that dream. Let's work on that in all of the spheres we occupy together. This will require a level of humility, courage, sacrifice, and compromise that will be a stretch for all of us. But let it begin. Let this convicted civility be the newfound passion in our homes, our religious communities, in our neighborhood and civic circles, in our workplaces and our government. Let's become again a people of both truth and grace. That's today's Wave from Ocean Reef. If you know of others who might appreciate this sort of content, I hope you'll pass it along or encourage them to find me on Apple Podcasts. Until next time, I'm Dan Meyer, hoping that the flow of life is good for you.